Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. It's very likely that the trick I'm about to show you will make you cry. This trap is absolutely amazing. If you're a channel veteran who's been subscribed for over a year, this might sound familiar to you. But today, we're going to go over it seriously, because this trap is so incredible, I'm not joking, it might actually make some of you cry. Let me give you a bit of context. This is a trap that a super strong player taught me, and it happens in the double king's pawn opening. If you don't know the story, I was playing in a tournament, and when I finished my game, I went to watch a friend's match. And that friend, who has a 2200 ELO rating, pulled off this trap against an opponent with a similar rating, and managed to beat him in a really spectacular way. I was so amazed that I begged him to sit down with me for a moment and teach me the trap in detail, because I wanted to share it with all of you. And that's what he did. He explained it to me in full detail. So look, after the double king's pawn opening, okay, which are the two most popular moves in the history of chess? My friend played knight to e2. What a strange move. At that point, I was already holding my head in disbelief. Why would such a high-level player make a move? So weird. He develops the knight to a really unnatural square, blocks his bishop, blocks his queen, it does absolutely nothing. And that's why, right here, I said, he must have something prepared. Look, his opponent continued in the most normal way possible. He played knight to f6. He develops a piece, in fact, he develops the kingside knight, while attacking a pawn. And do you think it ends here? Is this the only weird move he played? No. Here came f4. A super weird trap. At this point, I was already blown away because I was thinking, okay, the opponent is playing well, and now he's just giving away a pawn. Well, pay attention, because here's what comes next. He has two possible moves, right? Black does? What? Because if he does anything else, we just take the pawn and, on top of that, attack the knight. He only has two. One would be to capture this pawn, which isn't a good move because we just take back here, and it's simply a pawn exchange. But if the opponent realizes there's a way for him to win a pawn from us completely for free, and that way is simply to first capture this pawn here, we recapture, and now he takes this pawn over here. If you notice, our opponent has one extra pawn, and that's what happened in the game. And yes, if this happens, they've already fallen into your trap, because from here on out, everything is forced. And look how easy it is for them to fall into this trap. I was amazed. I said, come on, man, explain all the variations to me so I don't miss anything. How should I continue here? And he tells me, well, the key move is queen to e2. This move is going to start making your opponent's moves forced. By the way, at the end of this video, when I show you this trap, we're going to try it out in an online game, okay? So you can see for yourselves that it really works. You'll see that this trap really works. It's incredible. All right, we attack the knight. Here, notice that if they defend against the check, for example with the bishop, we simply capture the knight. Therefore, they absolutely have to defend the knight. If they do it with a pawn, for example, with the f-pawn, they're losing the knight because we simply attack it with our pawn. It's pinned and can't move, and on the next move we would capture it. The same thing happens if they defend with the d-pawn. We attack it, and on the next move we would capture. Therefore, I'm sure all of you have realized that the only move that defends the knight is queen to e7. Very good move. Even so, my friend showed me how to win anyway. Because here, this is the only good move. We already know they're going to play it if we don't win. And since they're going to play it, we have this move here. Knight to d5, an excellent move. What does knight to d5 get? Well, take a good look. It attacks the queen, that's one. And it also attacks here, too, to win the rook. And not only that, but be careful where you put your queen, because you still have to keep defending the knight. Otherwise, I'm going to capture it. That's why, for example, if you look at this, if they come to defend this square with the queen, we simply capture the knight with check and end up a piece up. And the same thing happens if they keep defending the knight. For example, we could come here and look at this triple threat we're setting up. All right, once we've seen all that, the opponent will realize there's a move that saves them, which defends all three things at once, moves the queen away, defends this square, and defends the knight. What is this move? Well, the only move that saves is queen to e5. All right, the opponent is realizing there are moves that save them, But what they don't know is that they're lost anyway, because they're falling into our trap. Here you have to remember this super important move, knight to c3, and I'll explain why. Right now, they're threatening to capture this knight, okay? And since they have everything defended, we have to keep adding fuel to the fire. If they attack this knight, we defend it with knight to c3, and not only that, now we're also attacking this knight here, which can't capture, because if it does, it would lose the queen. That's why all the time, they're going to have to think really hard about what the perfect move is to get out of each situation. And even if they find it, we're still going to end up winning. Look, now we have everything defended, and we're attacking here. And it seems like there's not much of a way to defend it. However, what they played in the game against this player, which is the most logical thing to do, is to attack this knight here. Why? Because this is the real headache in their position. It's the one that's attacking everything. If we move the knight now, the attack is over. Our opponent would even end up with an extra pawn. They could, for example, capture here, and nothing at all would have happened. So, if they find this move here, watch out, because only one move works for us. And pay attention, because the move is spectacular. Don't even think about moving this knight away. The move here is to play d4. An incredible move. Look, the queen is under attack. You can't move it away because this one would simply come in. What? We're moving the queen away from the only square that defends everything. You remember, right? It's the only square that defends anything. That's true. Here, after thinking for a while, your opponent might come to the conclusion that they can win, that they can recover the material. How? By capturing this pawn, which is free, right? And now, how would things continue? We would capture the knight, but they could recapture this one here, either with the queen or with the pawn. With either one, they lose. Okay. And I'm going to explain both to you because I told my friend, hey, explain everything to me. I don't want to miss anything because I think for my followers, I want all the variations to be clear for them. Otherwise, someone might play something weird against them and they won't be able to win. So whether they capture with the queen or with the pawn, they've lost the game. In fact, as you can see, no matter what they do, they're going to lose. If they capture with the queen, it's very simple. Check out this move, knight to f6, and they can already resign. Double check, they can't take the knight because it's also check from the queen, so they have to move the king, and we take the queen. That's more than enough material to resign. That's why they can't take this knight with the queen. So what happened in the game? They took it with the pawn. But it doesn't matter, they're still not saved. Now the check doesn't come from here, but from over here. And you might say, Chessteacher, can't they take it with the bishop here? No, it's exactly the same. It's also check from the queen. The only move is to get out of the way. From here, don't you remember how to checkmate? Because I'm telling you now, we're going to checkmate. Well, it's simple. You take this pawn, check, you take the rook, and you have enough material to win the game. Now, if you're like me and want to checkmate in the opening and crush your opponent, pay attention, because the checkmate comes like this. We come in with queen to e8, check. What's the only move? The king can't escape this way. He has to escape over here. And the next move is this one, right here. We deliver this double check and attack the queen. At the very least, if you don't remember, you're going to win the queen. That's the minimum. But actually, we're going to checkmate. Look, there's several options here. If they come here, we simply capture the queen with check. And we continue in the same way that I'm about to show you on the other side. So don't worry. If they come here, we just capture with check. What happens if, for example, they come here? Never. You don't have to worry about this knight because it's defended by the bishop. So we're going to keep giving checks with the queen. We come in through here, and now if the king moves to this side, it's checkmate. They can't escape. And if the king moves to this side, well, notice that he can't go here because the queen is there. The only options are either here or here. If he comes here, mix mate. If he comes here, what happens? We take the queen with a discovered check. Now it's the bishop that comes into play, right? And this queen is covering these squares. So the king can't go here or here because of the queen. And he can't go here because of the bishop. Therefore, the only move is this one here. You see it, right? And now we have to make the key move to deliver checkmate. It's not an easy move to find, but when you see it, you'll say, wow, that's a good one. All right, I'll give you 3 seconds to think. 1, 2, 3. The key move, I'll give you a hint. Notice that the queen is cutting off all of this, but the king can escape through here. So we bring the queen here. Better than giving check, we bring the queen here, because now we're threatening bishop takes pawn. Checkmate on the next move. No matter what they do, it can't be stopped. If, for example, they come with the knight, it's checkmate. If, for example, they come with the bishop to give check, well, all they're going to do is delay mate by one move, because we block the check, and when they move it away, then yes, checkmate with the bishop. That's why this trap is so powerful, but let's try it online to show you that it really works, okay? Let's go, come on! Let's try it in an online game. We're playing with the white theses. All right, double king's pawn, just what we were hoping for, to set up the trap with knight to e2. Here, we want them to play knight to f6. There it is. Perfect. In fact, it's the most logical move. What they don't expect is that I'm going to pull off this great trap with f4. Now we're going to leave them thinking for a good while here. The only way our opponents can win a pawn is to first capture the f4 pawn and then take the e4 pawn with the knight. In fact, they realize it. Perfect. What do we have to do? Do you remember? We come here, and look, right away my opponent already thinks they have an extra pawn, but what they don't know is that they've fallen into my trap. It's just spectacular. What are we going to do now? Well, we're going to place the queen on e2. Perfect. Here, they only have one move, do you remember? If they defend with the pawns, we simply play queen to d3 and win the knight. The only move to recover, or rather to not lose the knight, is queen to e7. Let's see if our opponent notices. And they lose the knight or knife. Look, they play queen to e7. The only move, just like we studied in the video. What do we have to play here? Do you remember? Knight to d5. We attack the queen. We attack the c7 square. The pawn. And also, if the queen moves away, we're attacking the knight on d4. So my opponent needs to realize that we're attacking all of this. And the only move that works is queen to e5. If our opponent plays well, they'll play queen to e5. If our opponent plays badly, they'll play something else and lose the game outright, although they're going to lose anyway. As you can see here, like I was saying, we're giving our opponent a lot of problems, and they have to think hard to find the right move. In fact, here they're not playing. Look, queen to e5. Perfect. They're playing exactly what I told you in the video. Here they're attacking our knight and defending everything. So we have to play knight to c3. Super important. We defend the knight, and also we're attacking the knight. Here, it's really tough for them because we're attacking the knight with two pieces. They're only defending it with one. And in the video, I explained c6 to you. Let's see if they play c6 to get that knight out of the way, or if they try any other move. And that way, I can take the opportunity to explain it to you perfectly. I'm going to show you how to punish any other move, so the video will be totally complete. And no matter what they do, I'll teach you how to punish it. Here, they don't play the move I told you about in the video. They play something else, which can happen pretty often with my videos, right? It's logical. They're not always going to play what I tell you. That's why I say it's so important to understand the idea. We're going to play d4 anyway, attacking their queen, and they've lost the game. Why? Because what we want is to get that queen off the good square it's on, since it's defending everything, right? And that's why now they have to move their queen. For example, they move it to e6. I don't care. So what am I going to do? In this case, I'm going to take the knight, and they get it back with the pawn, which makes sense, but what am I going to do? Queen takes pawn, check. There are very few options here. They block with the bishop, but my friend, you've already lost the game. Because look at this. If my opponent's queen wasn't there, I would checkmate in one move. I would play queen takes bishop and deliver checkmate. However, that queen is in my way. So what am I going to do? Bishop to f4, and at this point, you might as well resign. Because look, you're going to have to move your queen since I'm attacking it, and no matter where you move it, I'm going to checkmate you with queen takes bishop. Check out how spectacular this trap is. Let's see what my opponent does here, but I'll tell you right now, there's absolutely nothing they can do. No matter where they go, if they come to b4 with check, we just play c3. They have to move the queen, and as soon as they do, we're going to checkmate with queen takes bishop. As you can see, my opponent is already realizing, I think, that they've lost the game, so we're not going to drag this out any longer. I won't make you wait through the whole thing. To show you how well this trap works, it definitely deserves a big like from you. Please leave a like because it's amazing, and let me know what you think in the comments. Right? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned because on the next few days, I'm going to give you a free book that I wrote myself. It's a little digital book I wrote, okay? For all of you. So, I really hope you loved this video, and I'll see you in the next one, friends. Goodbye.